use Stack Deployer. So this is like a better version of Stack Deployer. There's another version being worked on with a few more team members to help us now have like this desktop application, or yeah, a desktop application for both Linux, Windows, and Mac OS. That is to help us. Yes. Is the session being recorded? Yeah. I don't know whether Alex is having some other recording.
It should be recorded by your team. Which
Yeah, but yes, the session is being recorded. I do have a copy here in case Ochieng is not having it up, but I believe he has some copy. So the Stack Deployer is now we have done some commands here to deploy our contract, including adding an account to scap.toml, declaring the contract, then deploying the contract itself. So that part is quite easy for those who are used to it. But for those who are not used to it, or not even those who are used to it, because even if you are used to it, sometimes these things come up with several errors. Let me just say that for free, because you will get them so that you don't be scared away. So you might encounter errors when you are trying to do all those things, like adding an account, creating an account, or using these CLI tools. So we opted to create a tool that's sort of universal that can help you quickly do that. So for testnet, mainnet, all those things, you have to do all the stuff that we did. And in fact, Starknet Foundry is very helpful, and it has helped us very much. There was another version or another tool called Starknet. I've not talked about it because yeah, I didn't want to introduce it. Starknet is another tool that can do all those things that Starknet Foundry does. That is the tools given by Zencast and tools given by SNForge. But this one is more complicated, complex, and hard. Okay, has a longer learning curve. I'd done some blog about it, so maybe I can show you why I didn't want to introduce Stackly. So Cairo language server, is it this one? Yeah, so this one is done by Stackly, and how you do it is that so Stackly, like SNCast or SNForge, has these commands and flags that you can use. But for this one, for example, creating an account, so let me just scroll down when you are deploying to local development node. By then I was using Katana. Katana is like DevNet, but it's also a sequencer or a node. Katana is a sequencer, so it can also be used in development purposes. So this is the first one that we were used to. So for it, you have to come in and do like do this part where you Starklet declare. You can see you have to pass in the path to Sierra.json file, and also pass in the path to the compiler version, pass in the account, pass in the key store. And to create this key store and stuff, you have to sort of use this other initial part up here, where you declare or your key store or your accounts and etc. So it had some learning curve, and it made things tough till Foundry was up. Foundry came to avoid all this stuff. So Starklet invoke contract address, the method, the arguments, and all those information. You can see how long this command can be sometimes. So that's where Zencast came in. But now, as a project that we were working on, so we decided to come up with Stack Deployer to avoid all those stuff and just have something that you can work with. For this case, I'm going to illustrate the DevNet part, then I'll illustrate the other part, the testnet part. Mainnet, you can test it out. So let's see what we have here. So when you land into the Stack, let me share this link for those who might be testing it out. Yeah, there we go. So the link is stack-deployer.vassal.app. It will be updated later to now production ready. So these beta version things, that's what they look on Vassal. So how do you, so when you land into the devnet portion of this stack deployer, you will notice we have a dashboard and it has a few instructions here. So take care of this because it might not seem what we have been working on, it might not look the same. So it has something else. So for this case, I had to share my devnet, the devnet version that I'm using, so that it can be helpful. Since I had some tests with one of our friends here, that is Ken Komu and Timothy Agevi, where we were trying to use the existing devnet version given by Starknet itself. So I realized I'd downloaded some version of Starknet devnet that can work with what I was working on here. So I had to create a repo for that. So just copy this new link and create it. Let me shut down this one. So I'm going to cd back, cd up to there. Okay, I need to go into web3 like that. Then here I'm going to create a new directory. I'm going to, not really, is it a master directory? No. So I'm going to just clone it here. So just paste that one there. It's going to clone me a new devnet version. If I list or list what I have here, I'm going to cd into devnet something rest for stack deployer. So here I'm going to run the other command, cargo run command. So while this is doing so you might give it some time to be able to finish it. I believe mine is going faster because of cache on the machine. I don't know, something of sort. So there's another thing here. So we have done that one. We were supposed to export, but I didn't. We'll get to this command in a moment. So what is the importance of using devnet while it's doing its stuff? So devnet gives you the ability to interact with your contract in real time. So all those functions that you had for your contract, you can interact with them here on devnet. Same with the other part on testnet or on mainnet. So that's the one thing that devnet has. It's sort of similar to what we have in Voyager or what we have in StackScan. So Voyager and StackScan are the two explorers currently on Starknet. So if you go here, you go to Goeli, maybe Goeli or main, whichever where you go to. So you can switch to any of these testnet or Spolia. So here you can interact with your contract. I don't know whether I have a contract. Let's see. Is this deploy account, deploy account? So all these are sort of deploy account. Let's look at the invoke function. We see whether there's a contract associated with this. Okay. Okay, we'll deploy ours and see whether there's a function associated with it. So let's see what we have. So this one is complaining, saying we don't have Starknet version on the environment. So that's why I said the step 3 also critical. So just export these two things. That's the RPC spec version and Starknet version. So after exporting them like that, then just do cargo run again. So it's just going to run it again, but now it won't fail. It will just proceed to running. The reason as to why we are using a different version of devnet to do all this is because the current version given on the main branch fails. So the rest of the branches on yes, on another call, how Pandulans. Okay, no problem. So here we are using this current version because with this version now you can be able to quickly interact with your contract without problems, unlike the rest of the devnet versions. So that's why I decided to have it here. So I believe this one is running. Yes, it's up. So what do we need here? So nothing much. So in this, it has a few tabs. So we have the dashboard tab that we are currently on. The next part we have the deployments. These are the deployments that you have done. The next part is deploying a new contract. This is the accounts that are currently on the current running instance of devnet, and the settings will contain more information about setting up. Let's say you want to change the port that you want to connect to, maybe changing the other stuff. Yeah, so let's just look at the deploy, then we'll look at the deployments. So here I'm going to say the contract here we are dealing with is Hello Starknet, and the casting file you can see is contract.compiled contract class. So I need to select that one. So I'm going to go back to the right place. I'm going to project, first project, I'm going to target, and here in dev I'm going to select the compiled underscore contract class. Then select the contract class, that is contract underscore class. Then I hit declare. So I think bugs are starting to shout. Yep, them shouting here. Let me just reload this and see what will happen. I believe this is different. Let me try to do it again. Yeah, when you don't have the right version of DevNet running, it will result into this. So let me rename this to Hello Starknet, then declare. Yeah, so this one has declared, and you will notice it has given us the class hash and the transaction hash. So that's what it does. Sometimes it will provide the two. That's when you are doing a new declaration. If you are doing an existing declaration, it will only return the class hash, no transaction hash. So if I hit declare again, you will notice it has only returned class hash, no transaction hash, because it's not like a new declaration, just it's the same thing, no code has changed. So because it will just go look at the Sierra code, look at the custom file or the Cairo assembly code. If nothing has changed, then you return the same class hash because it's the same thing. There's no need to redeclare. So once you have declared, then you hit deploy. So deploy is going to deploy your contract onto DevNet. So this is the same procedure for testnet and mainnet. So we'll get to testnet in a bit. So we give it just a few. Yeah, so don't worry where it takes long. As much as I said, it's on DevNet or local node. Reason being, it is interacting from the SDK itself to the backend. So once that one has been deployed successfully, it will just clear the form or reset the form so that you can't declare without these two. Then it will return some value. These ones will disappear when things when we'll get to production level. No need for us having this, but it's good to have them for development. So once you have declared your contract, you'll notice here it has been added here, and the only one way you can notice whether it has been added, look at the date and also look at the name. So sometimes you might be having the same name, so look at the date, because this date contains also the time. So you can be able to say, okay, I started at this is the time. Yeah, and it has written here found, and the two of them are not found. Why is this so? So when you are starting a new instance of DevNet, it clears, it's like a new slate of everything. So it generates new accounts, it does not contain the old contracts, etc. So that's why this one has been found on the current instance. The rest are not found, so you cannot really interact with this. But there's a way to curb this with the local DevNet. Where you deploy your contracts yesterday, you come and continue interacting with them today. I'll show you that one in a moment. But for now, let's just click on on interact. So if you click there, you'll notice now you have your contract address. So if you wanted to move this on your front end, you can move it. Just copy this one and continue using it. Also, so these are all the function calls. We have the ABI here. That's the next critical thing. So when you are creating a new contract on your front end, you'll need the ABI and also you will need the contract address. So you just get them from this. So you can copy this, just use the copy button. Same with the contract address, use the copy button, move. So let's look at the get balance method. So if I call this method, you'll notice it has just returned this 0, and I can be able to see the result or error. And the result returned is a big int. So this is another thing. Cairo SDK now here it will return some things in hex format, others in big int format, but generally the big int I think is the format. Yeah, it will return the results in big int. So for this case, it has just returned a big int 0. So let me just close that one. Let's go to the increase balance method. So here, if you use this platform, this is another advantage on DevNet, specifically on DevNet. Reason being, Voyager has the other stuff on testnet and on mainnet. So here, let's increase this balance by 10 and make the call. So this one is going to sign this value behind the scenes and send it to, yeah, send it. So it has returned the transaction hash. So let's look at the get balance. So if now we call this one, it will return an A. Don't worry about the A, just look at it as 10. So that's a big int of 10. For those who are familiar with the hex, 10 is A. I believe so. Yeah, so we can also increase the balance again by maybe, let's increase by 1. We look, the value should be 11. So get balance now, if I make the call, I have a B. So that is the 11 that we have there in big int format. So Starknet provides a way of interacting or converting these to human readable values. So big int, so me, for my case, I just serialized the entire value because I couldn't figure it out. Yes. Yeah, so this is another way to test out your contract. So if you use Stack Deployer, you have to use a different version of DevNet to test out. But the good thing with this, you can notice, is a UI for UI in your functions, and also it makes things easier. You don't have to run all those commands on the terminal for you to have a contract deployed onto DevNet. So yes. Okay, so I don't know if somebody has a question. Right. So the next part is, how can we be able to persist the data here? So I want to have this contract up and running today, tomorrow, and the other day coming. So that is where DevNet comes, some other commands in DevNet comes into play. And if you look at the command that we just used here, is just cargo run. But there are more other flags that we can use in order to attain what we really want. So those commands are as follows. So let me go to my DevNet, DevNet arrays for this. Then I'm going to open in terminal. No, not really. I'm going to just create a new folder here. So it's called dumping data. So it's like dumping when exiting, etc. So let's have the dumps there. Let's open the README and look at its values, or how we should dump the data. So I'm going to use some other tool here, Markdown, open preview on the side. Then I'm just going to close all this other stuff. And I don't need this. I can close them. So in this specific part, they're giving us ways of loading, dumping data, etc. So how do we dump data? So to preserve your DevNet instance for future use, these are the options. So the first thing is you just say dump on exit. Okay, the dump on command is the when do you want to dump, on exit or on every transaction. I think those are the two given functions that once you hit Control C, that's the command of exiting, or you shut, then when you hit Control C, then when or at what instance do you want to dump? So dump on exit or dump on every transaction. So we have dump on each transaction or dump on exit. Okay, where do I have this? Okay, yeah, so those are the two options. When do you want to dump? Then you have to pass in the dump path. So that's dumping. What about loading? Dumping on request also is there. So I think this is the command. I'm not familiar with this. I've not really used it. I've only used the first two. The other thing after dumping, you need to load your instance. So once you have dumped, load the instance. So to load cargo run -- there, you pass in the dump path. I think This value is this thing has not been given the right path. This should be load path, not the dump path. Did I write this? No. So you need to use the load path flag, not the dump path flag. So you use both of them, dump path and load path. Reason being, you want to dump at a given path and load from that given path. Usually you don't load a path that does not exist. That's why by default you start by dumping. Then later on you have the dump and the load together. So I think this one needs to be adjusted. Yeah. So somebody who wants to do a contribution, let me confirm whether that one has been adjusted. You can contribute. That's another thing you need to recall about Starknet. Contributions pay. So don't forget that one. So Starknet devnet rs. So let's look at dumping and loading. Control find. Yeah, in fact, somebody can edit this readme and change this from or not just change, but add the load path thing there. So for the one who wants to have a contribution, remember they are part of the airdrops. So just do this contribution on this repo. Let me just share it. Add that path and explain your contribution. Say adding the load path thing for visibility purposes. So here we go. There you have it. So just hit it there and quickly just pick it right now and do the contribution. Yeah, because that's an error. Somebody trying to use this tool and gets to that part, they might fail to notice it. So let's dump and load something. So I'll just copy this command as it is. So how does this work? So the only thing here I'm not sure for now, we'll just test it out with you here. Just a moment. Is the path file, whether it should be a file without an extension or a folder. We'll just confirm that one. I have to jump out as well. Okay, no worries. So let's do that quickly. So I'm going to shut down this. I'm going to do dump on exit, and the dump path I'm going to do is from here where we are. I want to use the dumps slash resolve this. Okay, so let's have that one. Dumps. I'm not sure. Somebody can help me here. Whoever has dumped anything, is it a file or a folder? I'm not sure, but we'll just try it out. So that's the path. Let's run this thing like that. I failed to deserialize that thing. Yep. So I'm going to do dumps slash let's call this hello Starknet. Yes. Yeah, you need to pass in a file at the end. So that's that thing of a file. So now that we have that one, we can just now deploy a new contract. So if I reload this page, you'll notice now this one is not found, it's no longer there. And these are the failed contracts, I believe, sometime back. No, not really failed. I was reloading the wrong thing. Let's deploy it again. Hello Starknet new, and I pass in the path or the compiled custom file and also the contract class, then hit declare, then hit deploy. So it will just, because it was the same thing, just taken short time in declaring. So we give it a moment to deploy, because every deployment creates a new contract address. But also there's another thing you can do to your contract to avoid having different contract addresses for your contract. That's called writing upgradable contracts. So if we look at the contract here, now we have our hello new Starknet. We can quickly now get the balance here, or we can just increase the balance by 10. That one works. So get balance, we have our 10 here. There's no harm. So we have done that one, but let's just sort of shut down the server and see whether we'll be able to get our contract. So if I shut down the server like that, I'm going to do that dump on exit, but I'm also going to pass in the load path like this. And the load path, of course, is dot forward slash the dumps slash Starknet something. Oh, it's hello Starknet, like that. That's one thing you need to do. And the next thing you need to pass in is you don't really want to generate new accounts. Let's say your dumping was associated with different accounts, or your contract was associated, or an admin of a given contract was associated with a given account. So how do you get the old existing accounts? To get them, you also use the seed flag. So copy the seed flag and also pass it here, do seed like that. So you have the seed there like that. So to load the old accounts or the existing the accounts, etc. But at the same time, when you are dumping, it will come back with the accounts, I believe. I'm not sure. Let's see. So load path, load found. Unexpected argument found, load path. Yeah, this is a problem. I have no idea what it is, but let's see. So
Search for.
yes, somebody's saying something.
Sorry. It's search for, and then the account.
Search for then the account.
Yeah, try that.
I'm not getting what you're saying. Clearly, that is maybe if you can type the flags the way they should appear, or I shouldn't be having the load path here. I'm not sure. Let me see. Okay, let me get rid of this. Maybe I'm having things that are not, account balance is not enough to cover the transaction cost. Okay, pass in the seed. Okay, this one seems to work. So let's see. Let me reload this page. Yeah, okay. Thank you for highlighting that. So yeah, I think I'd used the other version. So yeah, the Python version, you had to add the load path flag, but this one seems you don't really have to do that. Yeah, so let's see, what balance is this? 10. Increase the balance to by that. Did that one run? Not really. Okay, here it is. So let's get balance. So we have our 12, we shut it down. And why is this thing not shutting down? I'm not sure. It is sort of hanging in the air. So yeah, that's the thing. So you dump and that's how to load. So whoever is making the contribution, don't add the load thing, just add the seed, because without the seed then means like something like here might be having some issue. Why is it? Yeah, so if you saw the error, it was saying account balance not enough to cover something. So just add the seed to solve that one. Where was that error? Yeah, account balance not enough to cover the transaction cost. Maybe now with the seed flag, it can help that. And another thing to remember when making this or running with different flags, not just cargo run, remember to have the dash before doing the rest of the rest of the commands and flags ahead. Otherwise, it will just give you some weird errors. Yeah. So how do you write? Yeah. Any questions so far up to that point? How to use the DevNet platform? Okay. So the next part is writing upgradable contracts. I think that's an added advantage. So how do you write upgradable contracts? So upgradable contracts are also very critical because you don't really want to change the contract address every time. So best that you write an upgradable contract. So let me share this link. This is Starknet by example Voyager. So these are Voyager examples given by Voyager. So different examples, different implementations of different things, including events, etc. Components, that's another thing that I didn't talk about. So let me just paste it here. So you can look at that to learn more in developing nice contracts on Starknet. So we have upgradable contracts here. That's the thing that we want. So to write an upgradable contract, you need to have something like this. The first thing is an interface. As I said, it's not a must, but just arrange your work in this way. Just have an interface for this upgradable contract. Then the next thing you need to have is a few things. So why can't we do that one? So we just copy that one and go to our contract since it's open here. So I pasted that interface somewhere there. So it's saying class hash not found. We can import this one quickly from Starknet. Use Starknet. Is it class hash? Yep. So import it from there. Then the next thing is now more imports. So we have the class hash import here also, and we have a few things. Syscall result core. Just have this because without this one, things are going to look weird for you. So have them maybe below your imports or somewhere, just within your mod or between that's your module, the contract module, and yeah, the contract module decorated with the Starknet contract thing macro. Have those there. Then you need to implement the interface. So copy this. There's nothing heavy about this one, so have it there. So it's going to self.emit upgraded. It's complaining here because we don't have the this event, upgraded event, and also this sort of event and struct. So you need to copy it also. So copy the struct here and the event like that. So I'm going to paste it somewhere. I'll paste it below the struct storage struct, and everything will be gone. So if you don't have these three, it will just complain about the class hash first. Then it will just complain about these ones here. So you have to have these traits and some imports from Starknet. And from the core, that's the Cairo language itself, that's language server, imports 0, 0, and etc. and 0, etc. to make sure that here when it's calling the is0 method, it does not fail. And Starknet replace syscall, yeah, to help you just upgrade your contract. So let's test out this. So I'm going to just scab clean and also then scab build. So we have a new built contract. So let's deploy it. So we can't really use this one because this one didn't have that capabilities. So so this hello Starknet upgradable. So we pass in the casting file. In this case, this is the file here. Yeah, that one. And also we pass in the Sierra file like that. So declare. Okay, I'm having issues here. I think it is using old accounts, something like that. Let me just reload this thing. Disconnected. Okay, it just disconnected. Oh yeah, it's done. So we run it again with the old existing information. Hello Starknet upgradable like that. Then we pass in the casting file and also we pass in the contract class. Then we declare. So this is going to do a declaration, taking a bit because this is sort of a new thing. Okay, no, it has not really connected. reload to for it. So, yeah, this part of the things, as I said, the beta version is having some small issues and bugs here and there. Something like that. I think the button should be able to do that. So I hit deploy. So this one is going to deploy the contract. I'm not sure why it's taking its time to do that. Yeah, nice. Now we have our contract deployed. Now, if we look at our contract here, we see it. So we just click. The good thing, you can look at the time. This is the recent one. So there we have now a few more functions. And if you look here now, it has separated the functions up based on the interfaces. So the Halo Starknet interface and upgradable contract interface or traits. So you can now quickly call the upgrade function and the version function. So currently, let's just call the version function. So currently it's saying 1. So that's the current version. Let's look at it. So it's reading here 1. So that's what we have currently. But let's say we wanted to upgrade this contract to another version. So what happens? What you need to do is you come here and just change maybe the version to 2. Because this thing is sort of fixed or static, sometimes you might also need to just have the version maybe in your storage like this. Maybe you can start with version 1. No. Here it should be a U8, not version 1. So it's the member and the type. Then when you are maybe upgrading, you just do something like self dot version dot write self dot version dot read. So you read the old version, increment it by 1, then write it to the version object. Then here, instead of returning 2, maybe you can return self.version.read. So let me just write it, but for this case, I'm going to have it like fixed like that for now, version.read like that. So that's what you can do. So it's going to return a U8. So for this case, we are just going to return 2. Otherwise, this could have worked very well. But yeah, we just want to see upgradability functionality. So I'm going to scab clean and scab build again. So it's going to do the same thing. Now you are going to come back to your devnet here and hit deploy. So you can call this maybe Hello Starknet. But here you just select the files. For this case, we have not added the functionality of upgradability, but that's the next thing. So when upgrading, you only need to declare your contract to receive a new class hash. So like a new ID pointing to a given source code somewhere. So that class hash. So you only need to declare. That's why I've said we don't have a proper thing for that. So now that we have declared, we don't need to deploy. We just need to get the class hash. So you will notice here it will give you back the transaction hash because it's a new contract, or the source code is different, and class hash. So let's copy the class hash. So copy, Control C, and we are going to use this to upgrade our contract. So how do we upgrade it? Just go to your contracts, find your contract that you want to upgrade, click on the upgrade function and paste the new class hash there like that. Make sure you remove the quotes, but that is if you are going to copy from the DevTools. Otherwise, there will be an implementation for that. Just declaring. Now that we have called this function, it has returned a given transaction hash. Yeah, also currently we don't have receipts for these transaction hashes. Yeah, they'll also be somewhere. So now that we have upgraded our contract, we can look at the version. Let's just query this. We expect to get 2. Now it has upgraded our contract. We didn't really deploy a new contract, but just upgraded the old contract. That's one thing that Starknet has that I don't think whether the rest of the chains really have it as simple as it is. Just having something replacing the class hash and you are done. And the source code, in fact, I believe, or the rest of the information will remain the same. Yep, this is the problem. The information is gone south, but the contract address remained the same. the data disappeared. So I think there's an implementation for that, that is migrating the data from the old contract to the new contract. uh, I have not really worked on that or done that before, so I can't really explain it further. So, but that's it. If you want to maintain the same contract address but rather update the contract itself, then doing something like that can help much. No, I think I got this one wrong. Yeah, I think I didn't do the right thing here. Just a moment, just recall something. I must have upgraded the wrong contract. I'm not sure. Yep, let me look at the functions here. So this function, this contract has been deployed. This is like a new deployment with the upgradability functionality, of which is not the thing that we expected. Yeah, I think I did it wrong. That's why the data was not there. Sorry for that. Yeah, we needed to upgrade a different contract. Is it this one? No, it's this one. We upgraded it before we were having data. I'm not sure. Yeah, let's just have a different contract. But yeah, that's the thing. Upgrading, no, it doesn't delete the data. Or does it? No, it doesn't. I think I must have missed it because we had no calls for this contract that we upgraded. We had 0 calls before. So that's why it sort of did that. Anyway, the only call we had is the first call of version. We had not really done any other calls for increasing or decreasing. Yeah, data remains. I think I seen that one. Another questions so far up to that specific point. We have covered a lot, including upgradability. Yeah, so the last part is devnet, no, testnet and mainnet. So the Stack deployer has that functionality or offers that ability for you to deploy your contract direct to testnet and devnet. But for this case, you need to use your Bravos wallet. You can't really use your agent wallet. Agent wallet gave us problems trying to deploy contracts. So we only landed onto Bravos. So to use Bravos, just connect your wallet first. There, connect your Bravos wallet, then hit deploy. And the contract that we're going to deploy in this case is called Hello Starknet. No, yep, Hello Starknet. So let's use the upgradable one here now. And here I'm going to select the custom file and also select the Sierra file and then hit deploy. I'm not sure whether this one is going to work. Yeah, so this one will work in a fun way. I only have deploy function or button here, so I'll just hit declare there. So this one is going to declare our contract on testnet. Then it should execute deploy. This is another thing that we have not looked into further because it's hiding it somewhere there. You might not notice it. So I might be forced to hit it again for it to bring me the deploy. So declare failed and all those stuff. So I'll hit that one and hit deploy. Yeah, so it's going to deploy and it's going to load the deployment here. So we give it a moment as it is finishing. As it finished. Yeah, it has finished deploying. Yeah, so we have our contract here the same way we were interacting with it or the offline way. Now in interacting, you can either use agent or Bravos. There's no problem. So for this case, let's just sort of call the increase balance. And the interface here slightly, it looks slightly different a bit. So here we are going to increase balance by 10 and make that call. We sign the call. That's one thing. Then we can get the balance. Just click make call. Okay, this is another thing. So in devnet, you can just write and immediately read, but on testnet or mainnet, that doesn't happen immediately. So you have to give it a few seconds, like 6 seconds, for it to be able to completely do that, or 10 seconds. Then it can be able to give you now the value. So there we have our value 10. So we can also increase the value by 2, we have, or by even 29, we have our 39. Make the call, we sign. So another advantage of this platform is that let's say you wanted to go to testnet, you don't have a UI for your application for now. How can you be able to get a UI quickly? This is easier to deal with. More functions, more features will be added, i.e. just importing a contract based on a contract address, getting all the list of the information, that is the functions, the interfaces, etc., etc. So you don't have to really worry about, I'm getting some comma here, I don't know what that comma means. So we have 39 there. So that's the new value. So let's look at the version and try to, so this version is version 2. So let's upgrade this one to version 3 and see whether it will work as expected. That is without really deleting the value. That's the information. So we have that one there, and we are going to rebuild it. Don't know whether, oh, this one will give us the class hash, in fact. So let's just go back to, let me go back to the home page. I'm going to hit deploy here, and I'm going to say hello Starknet. So I can do here v3 like this, select the custom file and also select the Sierra file and hit deploy. So it's going to give us a new stuff for declaring. So I just need to copy the class hash here before I hit declare. This class hash is calculated beforehand, so you don't have to wait the transaction to be signed online or on chain for you to get the class hash. You can just get it here quickly. It's calculated beforehand, or based on the custom and based on the Sierra file. I think, is it Sierra? One of those. So I have that one. So how do I upgrade this? Just go to your contract itself, click on interact, connect any of your wallets, do the password, then hit the upgrade function, pass in the new class hash that you want to upgrade with, and make the call. Invalid type expected array received null path. Yeah, so maybe we are getting this somehow wrong. I'm not sure why this is happening. Let me just reload the page, maybe, or maybe it's agent itself giving us problems. Yeah, you have seen that's the next problem, agent problematic. So you can cram that one. Okay, Bravo's account implementation sort of allows for these things, but the agent account implementation does not allow account okay, for now, I don't know, I'm not sure. It does not allow contract declaration and things that do with the contract declaration upgradability. It does not work with it. Yes. So let's look at the version. I don't know whether it has updated this one. Yeah, we have version 3. Let's look at the balance, see whether it's still 39. Yeah, it has confirmed. Data does not disappear. You only need to change the class hash and the data remains the same and everything works as expected. Yep. So that's for testnet. Same works with the mainnet. So when you are using this platform, don't use agent in declaring or deploying your contracts. Kindly use Bravos. So for mainnet, just click there, switch to mainnet, and proceed to deploy. So let me see. I'm not sure whether this will work. I've not really tested out. I don't know whether I even have enough tokens there. Okay, my Bravos really has nothing, so it can't really help with that. Yep, maybe I try with Agent X. So let me disconnect, connect with Agent X. But I'm not sure whether it will declare or even deploy. Believe my Agent X should be having some. Yeah, it has a few tokens there. Yeah, this one fails by default. It will bring this error called failed to declare error timeout. I don't know why it will bring a timeout error. Yeah, we tried this with different times. That's the time to wait for transactions. but it didn't seem to work for agent. So we opted to just go with what works. That's Bravos. So that's it. I don't know whether somebody has a question or something to add, etc., something to comment on. I'll invite all those. Uh, okay, I believe then we are good to go. Then we can call this a day. I don't know whether Ochieng is still in the call.
Yeah, I am actually. Yeah, amazing work. Thank you for putting in 2 hours for the presentation. So the video we did last time had issues. We had audio issues, so yeah, that did make it. But we got some new software, so I believe they should be good. So you're also recording as well,
Yeah, I think my recording is doing good here. Yeah,
yeah, I'm using the same mini OBS.
yeah.
Yeah, same. So yeah, I think we should be good.
Mm.
All right, so let me just everyone good night and thank you for meeting for this call. I'll catch you on the next one.